Greetings, Rink Rats, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 7 of the Blackhawks Rinkcast, coming to you live from the Puck Hockey Studios and brought to you by Puck Hockey, our founding and official sponsor since 2017. Head over to puckhockey.com and check out the latest in hockey-themed apparel and gear, including the Rink line, which many of us are modeling tonight. Really cool stuff, beautifully designed and well-made, lots of different hockey themes and player lines. Good stuff. Go check it out. puckhcky.com. I am your host, John Jekyll, better known across the interwebs as JJ or That Jekyll Guy. And joining me tonight are the usual suspects. Let's start with my partner in crime, fellow founding member of the Rink, Jeff Osborne.
It's Mr. Osborne.
Yes, it
Hello.
is. Yes, it is. And also Ray Nepientek.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. This is quite the crew right here.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Ray. Sean Fitzgerald, the blogger to be named later, also known as Sean Goldstein.
Happy to be here tonight. Going old Rink two-tone from puckhockey.com.
And Andy Campbell from the nether regions of Massachusetts.
What's up, everybody? We're going to have a good show tonight.
Let's get at her.
And last but not certainly least, tonight's special guest, one of my most entertaining follows, both on Blackhawk and White Sox Twitter, the creative genius behind @SnarkBurley, a largely White Sox-themed apparel and design line. I am, in fact, modeling my Snark Burley t-shirt. I love this thing, and I told Lauren about it that I really loved it. She graciously sent it to me. It has the scoreboard themed from the White Sox in a Chicago flag logo. It's very cool, and all this stuff is really cool. You got to go check it out. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the show. Lauren, thanks for joining us. She's still
to make me look smarter.
We're gonna do our best. We are gonna.
That's why I wear them. That's why I wear glasses, just so I look smarter.
I'll save them for when I need them.
Right on.
Figure it out.
Welcome, folks. Tonight we're going to talk about a couple of topics. The first one, the big one, and I think this crew is well suited to dissecting this. Can the Hawks realistically make the playoffs? Because we're gracious hosts, we're going to turn this over first to our guest, Lauren. What do you think? Can the Hawks make the playoffs, or is that a pipe dream?
Maybe. Our division has two really good teams, Florida, Tampa Bay. Two good teams, Carolina, Dallas. Two not good teams, Detroit and Nashville. And there's us and Columbus, the wild cards. Can Dallas stay healthy? I don't know. Is Torts going to have a meltdown? Who knows? So I don't really know if it's a matter of how well the Blackhawks play or if it's hinging on John Tortorella going completely mad and benching Line for 3 games. Who knows? I think they have a shot. The bad teams in our division are really, really terrible, but I don't know. I'm not sold. I mean, Lankinen can't carry the team, and I think Subban has proven to be a bit of a fraud. So
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Tell us what you think. All right, Gate, what do you think? Can they make the playoffs? I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, I don't think so in the end. But you know,
Well, here's the scoop I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, like she said, Lankinen can't probably keep up at this rate. Subban can't backstop this team for any length of time. You can't continue to just rely on your power play being 33.3%, scoring 1 out of every 3 times, and your goalie having save percentage that's in like the top. Your rookie goalie who hasn't faced any other teams but like 5 teams in his career, in his entire career, to backstop you into the playoffs. It's just not sustainable. None of this is sustainable. You can't not be a good 5-on-5 team and expect to go through the entire season and make the playoffs. It's just, at some point it's going to catch up with them.
All right. That's so we've gone from the vaguely non-committal to the negative. Let's go to the positive. Andy Campbell.
Oh, Mr. Positive over here. It totally depends on Dylan Strome coming back.
First
Figured
Dylan
it out.
Strome reference counted.
Sorry. All right. I wanted to get that.
Texas
over.
size 10-4.
No, honestly, I mean, I love the Torts comment, first of all, because I think that if Columbus decides to hold on to Tortorella for the rest of the year, then the Hawks have a shot. Because he's really, I mean, he's coming apart and that team's come apart. If the Blackhawks make the playoffs this year, Patrick Kane is your MVP. I think that, I mean, he will need to continue his brilliance. And I think if they are in that position and if they're in that top four, a lot of it is going to be 88 doing it. Sure, it's going to be Lankinen, it's going to be the goaltending, it's going to be the support guys, maybe some secondary scoring. Maybe Kubalik will get hot and pump in, a few more. Obviously, Alex DeBrincat is back, and he's playing at a very high level right now. Can they do it? I think they can. Will they do it? Probably not. I'd love to hold out hope. I want to acknowledge too that I can't believe it's the beginning of March and we're even having this conversation. I mean, there's nobody thought we'd even be here. But I think this month is going to be such a test with that 9 games against Florida and Tampa Bay. No Detroit this month, so it'll be entertaining. But at the end of the day, they'll probably be on the outside looking in. But I'd love it if they got it. It'd be really fun.
Okay, so I would call on Ray here, but Ray's been kind of a slacker, missed a couple of shows, so he's going to go last. Sean Fitzgerald, the blogger to be named later.
I'll say yes. And the reason I'll say yes is because of what was brought up earlier. I think Torts is bringing down Columbus, and if they hold on to him, I think they're done. Dallas is just so injury prone. If the Hawks can weather the storm of this month, like even if they go 4-6 in the next 10, if they somehow do that, I think they hang on and they make the playoffs. They've got to hang on during this month. This is the real test. And then, even though I know they only have, I think, 2 more games left with Detroit, I believe they played them 6 times. So that's going to be something to look forward to. But they can beat up on Nashville. Dallas is broken down. They can beat up on Dallas. I think they make the playoffs in a shocker. I think they make the playoffs.
Interesting.
Figured it out.
Ray, what do you think, man?
Tired of all the group think, Gate. Gotta do something different.
Thanks for taking me out of the penalty box. I think, obviously it'd be easy to say goaltending and defense, and we kind of talked about that already. It's going to be Kane and DeBrincat if they're rocking and rolling and there's no secondary scoring. If Kubalik gets hot, but if you're talking about that second and third line playing consistently, putting pucks in the net, they can beat a lot of teams. I think they're better defensively than we give them credit for. Lankinen, yeah, I mean, Gate, brings up a great point. Does he hit a rookie wall? I know it's a shorter season, but, relying on him to go the distance. But I really look at that secondary scoring. If you're talking about Kurashev and Suter, Janmark, stuff like that, if they're scoring, Hawks are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. So, it's great. It's really funny because I think 3 of you guys have really encapsulated what I was going to say. They've got a tough stretch of games coming up, but I think the bigger question is can anybody catch them from behind? Because Dallas is banged up. I mean, they're without Tyler Seguin, and Columbus has got an internecine war going on between Patrick Laine and other factors and John Tortorella. I don't know. I think Torts is finally reaching the end of his shelf life, as coaches like him always do. It's a shame because Columbus is probably a playoff team most years, and even with the talent erosion they've had, they still have that strong core, and they're built for the playoffs. But so I question, the thing I question is can anybody who's behind the Hawks catch them and knock them out of fourth? Gate, you bring up a really good point though too, and I think that Lankinen has been kind of the story of the season for me, and we'll talk some more about that in a few minutes. But I think I do think he's going to come back to come back to earth here a little bit. They got 3 games coming up against Tampa, and I think that and a lot of games against Florida, et cetera. So I think he's going to see some pressure and some hardship on an NHL level that he hasn't seen yet. And well, it'll be interesting to see, how he weathers it. Because to me, he's really the difference maker this year for them. That's just my opinion. But and DeBrincat's bounced back nicely. But getting this surprise performance out of him so far is, I think, what's got them where they are. So anyway, let's talk about though what happens when the Hawks get to the playoffs. Because I had an article that I posted this past week about the Hawks' serious problems 5-on-5, and when you're in the playoffs, if you can't compete 5-on-5, you're not going to last very long. But I'm curious if any of you guys think that the Hawks could do some damage in the playoffs, maybe make the second round. Let's start with Ray.
Kate, I love the background that popped up.
I got my boys here,
That's awesome.
1,000 movie quotes just came to the top of my head, but I don't want to wait.
Those good men about Saigon.
I want to waste all our time, right?
Man, come on.
If they were to make the playoffs and you catch a Tampa or Carolina, I don't think they're going to make a ton of noise. JJ, you brought up a good point. Is anybody going to catch them? If they play 500 hockey the rest of the way and they get in a 7-game series, do they beat Tampa? Do they beat Carolina? No, not even close. For me, it would be they didn't get caught. They were able to play 500 hockey on the way out. And, you had a great article, 5-on-5, that's where it's at. You're not going to get a loser point. You're not going to win 3-on-3. Those are the rules. You got to play by the rules in the regular season, but if they make the playoffs, they're not going to make any noise.
Lauren Wilner, special guest. What do you think? Do you think the Hawks could actually?
I don't think so. Dallas has only played 17 games, so we've played 23, 24. So when they catch up, it's not like we're playing a game, they're playing a game. They've got 6 or 7 games of just free points that they can just climb right over us and send us, back to the hell where we've been. I did hear a Carolina reference, so I have to reference Mr. Svechnikov, one of my favorite players. I'm really excited about the Svechnikov matchup.
Yeah, go put it on a t-shirt, Jeff.
Kate, is that me and Stankus behind you?
It's my friend, the dude, and Walter next to me on the other side. They're whispering in my ear.
So, Kate, what do you think? What am I saying? I'm asking Kate if I think they can do anything in the playoffs. All right, I'll ask him.
Well, no, of course not. They're not going to make the playoffs, but even if they did, they're going to get stomped. I mean, they don't have the depth to be able to really take any of these teams on. They don't have the size to be able to, muck and grind in the corners and win board battles. And they don't have any of that stuff. They're a lot of these games that they won in shootouts and, overtime, that's not going to happen. There's no 3-on-3, like Ray said. They got lucky in that, they can outrun some teams 3-on-3, but 5-on-5 in playoff overtime, that's not happening with this team. And eventually their defense is going to break down. They're going to have to, they're going to go back to depending on Duncan Keith to play 30 minutes a game because they're going to have this, false sense of security that they're an actual playoff team. So, if they were to make the playoffs, and last year they didn't make the playoffs, just to be clear, they got a mercy invite because of a pandemic. They did not make the playoffs. So anyway, no, they're just not built that way yet. And this is not to say, and we keep saying this is not to say they won't be next year or the year after that. Just right now, they're not. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to echo everyone else. I think if they, my enthusiasm was a little inflated earlier. If they happen to make the playoffs, they're going to be swept. They don't have.
Okay.
They're still a year or two away from being a fringe playoff team. They still need grinders in the corner. I know they worked on that in practice the other day, but if you don't have size, you don't have guys like Boone Jenner and players like that can win board battles, you're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. And Kevin Langton has never played this many games in a row. I don't think or this many starts in a long season like this. So he's going to start to wear down. What about the kids? Yeah, this year. If they do make the playoffs, it'll be a quick exit to a middle tier draft pick, which we'll have to wait several years to see if it's worth anything.
Well, that's a really good
check, back check, paycheck, boys.
That's a really good point, Sean. I think, and we're going to talk about that, I think, on a future show in the not too distant future about, what are the ramifications of this unexpected success this year if the Hawks did make the playoffs. What does that mean as far as the rebuild? So, I mean, we'll dissect that in a future show, and I think you guys know where that's going to go. But yeah. So, Andy, what do you think? Can the Hawks actually surprise somebody in the playoffs?
I mean, maybe they'll do what they did last year and put up a fight in a 5-game series where they stand on their head and they steal one. But I mean, right now, this team, or as of a couple of days ago, was 27th in the league with a 47% faceoff rate. And when you're playing big boy hockey and line combinations are a bigger factor, they're going to be playing a lot without the puck. And if you're playing a lot without the puck against Carolina or Tampa Bay in a series that means something, they just don't have it. They just don't have it this year. And we'll hear the parting shots. It'll be great for our young guys to get this experience and all the things that we're used to hearing when the Hawks organization knows that they're totally outmatched heading into a playoff series. Like I said, I hope they make it because I like watching playoff hockey, and they're not going to be a lottery team this year. But it's just so hard to see them upsetting a number 1 seed. I just don't think they have the juice.
Yeah, my personal feeling is, they'll pretty much get destroyed. I mean, I think that there's some positives in what's going on this year in the regular season, but if they make the playoffs, I don't think they're any better of a playoff team now than they were a year ago. Probably worse without Taves, honestly. And they would get crushed. And let's not even talk about what all that means as far as their draft position, et cetera. But, the truth is we've talked about a lot of the different players who have stepped up this year, who've been pleasant surprises. I want to pose a question to you guys. Who do you guys think, though, is somebody who's been kind of an unsung hero in the Hawks' success this year? Who's
Dylan Strome.
Make an argument for it.
If somebody wants to espouse the Dylan Strome argument, I'm certainly willing to entertain it. It should be entertaining. I'm going to put this back to our guest, Lauren. What do you think? Who's your unsung hero on the 2021 Chicago Blackhawks? Hagel, everything Hagel.
That's supposed to say more than just.
Go put it on a t-shirt, Jeff.
Already on it. Get out of my lane. Get out of my lane.
Trademark 2021 Q stash.
I put
Nice
Hagel.
suggestion, I thought was marinate.
I put Hagel on my sung hero list, man. That guy's awesome. Love him.
Don't sing about him because he's my own son. I mean, he's fast as hell. He does everything. He was scrapping with Line A, and I was dying laughing about that. I had compared him to Zadina, who has 2 goals tonight. But Hagel was the 6th round draft pick, I think. So also I noticed 3 of his assists were from Kubalik. So line mates for life. We got to keep them together.
Hagel's actually a free agent. He was a free agent signing.
Yeah, he was. Out of
Originally,
the
he was-
WHL,
Red Deer.
I believe.
Red Deer Rebels.
Yeah, Red Deer. I think
Along with
Christopher-
Reese Johnson.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Christopher Stieg was a Red Deer Rebel, as I recall. Back when I used to care about junior.
Anyway,
hockey.
sorry to interrupt.
Go, Lauren, go.
Expected from you, from the likes of you.
What a jerk.
I mean, the thing about him is he's averaging 12 minutes of ice time per game. I think they need to trust him more, but the team's full of young rookies. So who know, like, I don't really know what to expect from them. And I know we can't get too excited about them because they all have a lot to learn and they have a lot of time before they're going to be formidable players. But that's my unsung hero, Hagel. Don't sing about him. Don't make him sung.
We won't sing about it. All right, Ray, what do you think? Who's your unsung hero, buddy? Don't say Ian. Don't say Ian.
Yeah, no, it's not Mitchell. I'll stay with defense though and go with Connor Murphy. I think he's been
Oh,
quiet, silent, good.
All right,
Can I-
well,
can I
everybody
go-
changed
can I
their
go
picks.
first? Can I go
Everyone
first?
changed their pick.
20-3 minutes a night, just playing good defense. He's taking a lot of important minutes, and I think if I had to pick one, it would be him for sure. He's just that type of guy that you need back there. I've been pleasantly surprised the way he's been playing this season, and to say, Hagel. You've got a lot of good guys that you could pick. I just think Murphy's taken on a lot of big minutes that you need him to do.
I've agreed with both of you guys. These have both been excellent choices, and I love the rationale. All right, Sean, what do you think, man? Who do you got?
Well, since all the good picks are taken, I'll go. I'll go Calvin DeHaan. Steady Eddie
I'll
there on the
trade
blue
my
line.
pick.
I think you just need a defensive defenseman to do his thing, and that's what he's been doing this year. And that's something that when he got hurt last year, the Blackhawks were lacking on the blue line. So Steady Eddie, not going to get recognized on the stat sheet, but I'm just going to play solid defense.
Okay. All right. I'll go there as well. I don't feel as strongly about him as I do about the previous two, but DeHaan is a really good player, and yes, I think both he and Keith actually are probably not getting the props they deserve, because they're the type of defenseman who you only really notice them, I think, when they break down, or in Keith's case, when he makes a nice offensive play. But yeah, okay. Andy, tell us about Dylan Strome. What do you, why do you think he's an unsung hero?
yeah. Well, I'm frustrated. I knew Ray was going to take mine because he's a lot smarter than I am. But I'm gonna go with Shiva.
Can confirm.
I'm going with Shiva. I'm going with Kurashev.
Yeah, you like Khrushchev.
I really like Kurashev, and this kid turned 20 years old in October.
Yeah.
And he, he has played in every game except one, and he has been a value add as a situational player. He's played a little center. He's played in the wing. I did not think he would be this far along. Not even close.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning of the season, before it, when camp opened up, I had him penciled in Rockford, and he's here to stay. And I'm sorry, he turned 21 in October. Let me clear that up, 1 year. But anyway, he's a stud. He's a keeper. He's going to be around. I don't like the Datsyuk comparisons, or some of these names that people are throwing around there.
Stop.
I will give you a
Oh,
compare. I will give you a legitimate comparison. And if he has this kind of longevity with the team, he could be a Sergei Brylin.
Mm-hmm.
You think back to Sergei Brylin with those
Mhm.
Devils teams and what he meant to those clubs. He played 15 years in New Jersey
Yep.
and won 3 cups. Kurashev could be that guy. He could play into his mid-30s in a hockey uniform and have tremendous value at a very low cap hit for a long time. So I'm excited about him. I like him a lot.
That's a really good one. All right,
So Stan
Gabe.
Bowman's going to give him 3 years and $24 million. Got it.
Right.
Yeah,
when he's an
exactly.
RFA, he'll give it to him a year and a half before his contract's up.
Right. You're right. And
Because they're afraid of losing him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they'll trade him
can't
The
for
lose.
best way to
Saad.
not lose him is overpay him a year
Yeah.
early.
They're gonna trade him for Saad.
Yep. When Saad's 35.
Jason
Stash.
Warren will come out of retirement for that.
There he
deal,
is.
too.
Yeah, we saw him. Stash made a brief appearance. It's almost like subliminal advertising. Gabe, what do you think? Who's your unsung hero, buddy?
Well, I was gonna say DeHaan, but someone took that, so I'm gonna pick someone different. Someone who's actually really given something to this team that I didn't think he was going to. And even though he had kind of a late start and everything, Carl Soderberg actually has impressed me.
Yeah.
He's had some offensive flash, which you don't really expect from Carl Soderberg, but he's a center, he's a good solid center, can play, he's been playing the power play. He's been playing the PK, playing pretty good 5-on-5. He hasn't been getting crushed at his own end. He's been a pretty good depth player for a last minute pickup to replace some top notch players that they lost. I'm just going to say I've been very impressed with what Carl Soderberg has shown so far. He may lose it, but so far so good.
These are all good. These are all really good. And I
That
agree on
answer
that one
makes
too.
me so happy.
I agree on that one too. So my unsung hero, I've already kind of foreshadowed it. And every time I start trying to talk about goalies, like I know something about goalies, I end up looking stupid, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here. And I'm kind of all in on Lankinen. I think Lankinen's going to be around for 10 years. And I think he's going to be a pretty good goalie in Chicago. I mean, he is going to come back to earth a little bit, but when he takes the net far and away, he really looks like he belongs, and the team plays well in front of him. And I know he gave up 5 in a game recently, and I started to think then, he's going to come back to earth here. But I just feel like we're going to look back on this season, and the one thing we're going to remember is how that kid kept us in games. And if they make the playoffs, it'll be in large part because of him, and that's pretty remarkable. So I know he's been sung quite a bit, and I think some people have been really out over their skis on him a little bit, but I'm starting to become a believer in him. And I think that, he may not be getting enough credit really at this point too. So, all right, good. So we got some good unsung heroes. We got a couple of questions tonight, and these, normally we kind of breeze through the questions, but one of these, I think is going to trigger a lot of conversation, especially in light of my partner being here tonight. So very cool dude, one of our Rink rats, who we enjoy on Twitter, asked the question, like, what's going on with Collin Delia? I mean, last night he looked like he could barely play in the AHL, when 2 years ago he looked like he was going to be a pretty good NHL keeper. And I have an opinion on it, and I have a feeling Mr. Osborne has an opinion on it, but we'll get around to him later. Sean, what do you think?
Well, Collin Delia unfortunately had the unmistakable pleasure of playing against Tampa Bay and Florida, I believe, to start the year. Okay, I think he gave up 5 in 2 appearances and then was banished. He's never seen the NHL ice since. They finally sent him down to Rockford on a conditioning assignment, and Rockford isn't very good, so he got shelled last night. I think it's just he's a victim of circumstance, unfortunately. They thought he was going to be able to compete with Subban and Lankinen, and he still might get some time because, as we've said earlier, Subban's been exposed. But he got when you don't play for over a month, you're going to develop rust. You're going to like you have to keep playing against regular competition. You can't just play against Jeremy Waite, taking shots from the goalie coach every day. It doesn't make any sense. Or Jimmy Waite. I'm sorry, not Jeremy Waite. I don't know who the hell.
Jeremy's good. We can go with that.
He's the
Is he the
third
one
Waite
that
brother.
Did the Canadians hire Jeremy?
Well, you're right, though. You wouldn't want to take shots from Jeremy Waite.
Would not. All right, I'm going to ask
Erroneous on both counts.
I'm going to put Gate on mute, and I'm going to ask our special guest what she thinks.
I agree with pretty much everything Sean said. I think he's got a big confidence issue. I mean, knowing he had a contract and now he's taxi squad, being banished to Rockford, would you feel good about that? And he's getting lit up down there, and I mean, I still am not sold on Subban. Well, is there a spot for him?
Right. That's a good point. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a shame for him. I think it's a bummer. I think this whole taxi squad thing, is kind of what Shawnee was saying, just a victim of circumstance. At the same time, did the Hawks do this the right way and make sure that they committed to 2 guys early and say sorry to the other one, tough break? Yeah, I think they did. I really think that they did. They said, these are our guys, and this is what we're going to do. And so now we went into the season with this kind of three-legged goalie carousel that everyone was going, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And the Hawks ID'd it early and it's been working. So I don't lose sleep over that. I do think it's totally a bummer for Collin Delia. So I'm putting my mask on. I think it's a bummer for Collin Delia, but at the same time, I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. It is a shame for him. Hopefully he'll land somewhere. Hopefully it'll work out. But that said, there was going to be an odd man out in this situation. There had to be. And unfortunately, it was Deals.
Yeah. Ray, what do you think?
It's a performance based business, right? And Lankkonen's run with it. I think Subban has been fine. I not really too high on him. I know Delia had a tough go there early on. That's just a draw, right? He goes out and pitches a shutout, things would be different. And obviously there's more than just goaltending when you're pitching a shutout, but he just kind of got stuck. But the thing that is, he's one pulled groin away from being back. So that's one of those things that hey, you've got to kind of keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Goaltending is a crazy business. We all know that. He could come up to Chicago and be lights out for 5 games, and we'll think back for what happened. But also for me, I always thought it was a little bit of a stretch with him a few years ago. He was playing on a team that didn't have much goaltending at the time. He signed a really nice deal for himself, so he's got a lot of things going for him. But it's performance based, and he's not performing.
Fair enough. You're a tough taskmaster, Ray Napientek. All right, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Gate, what do you think? What do you think about Delia? How they're treating him?
Well, to be fair, it was the luck of the draw. He got the shit end of the deal. Lankkonen gave up 5 goals. Subban gave up 5 goals. Delia just happened to have 2 in a row against Florida and Tampa Bay, 2 of the top teams in the NHL, as far as like shooting and scoring goals. So it was the bad luck of the draw. Maybe they could have given him, another shot, but now it's too late. He's out of shape. He didn't play for a month. He barely practiced for a month. And then you send him down for a conditioning assignment behind a team that's playing dog shit defense. I mean, they gave up 43 shots in 2 periods. You can't tell me that's good by any stretch of the imagination. I don't care if he gave up 7 goals in those, on those 43 shots or whatever. 43 shots in 2 periods is terrible. And no goalie should have to face that, especially one that's been out of shape. Now, because you didn't play him, practice him, or do anything with him. You just kind of sat him up there to eat, shrimp in the press box. And so it was, the luck of the draw. If Subban played those 2 games that they gave up, 10 goals in 2 games, then Subban's the guy who's where they're at right now. It just so happened that this is the way it worked out, and they decided they were going to stop trying goalies after Kevin Lankkonen won a game against Detroit, and they decided they can play hockey again. That's kind of where it's at.
Is the shrimp at the United Center any good?
Is it popcorn?
Sorry.
Was it popcorn shrimp? Because I
eating shrimp in the press box. I didn't know they did shrimp. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JJ.
We should ask Brandon Perry how the shrimp is in the press box at the United Center. The Delia saga reminds me of a story about, I guess it was about 18, 19 years ago. And gosh, it's just, I don't know where time has gone, but so a buddy of mine back then was the agent for Dustin Byfuglien, James Wisniewski, and Craig Anderson. And what Delia is going through right now with the Hawks reminds me of what Craig Anderson went through with the Hawks. And, they kept signing him and then cutting him, and somebody else would sign him, and then the Hawks would sign him back. And he kind of bounced around to like 5 teams in 1 year. And then finally he settled with Florida, and he started to get his game underneath him. And then he had some great years in Colorado, and some good years in Ottawa too. And he's ended up having a great career. And I remember my buddy and I talking about, my buddy was a former pro goalie. And, he said, he goes, look, this kid has talent. He's just got to get his game going in the NHL, and somebody believes in him and be patient with him. And that's what happened. And I don't know if that's going to happen with Delia or not, but Gate and I were talking about a little bit about it today. I think based upon what he showed a couple of years ago when he got those NHL games, I have a feeling some GM is going to take a chance on him. It's not going to be in Chicago, probably. I think Bowman is committed to, obviously, to Lankinen, but then secondarily to Subban, because Subban is his return for Robin Lehner. And, Bowman's always so worried about how he's perceived and about how his moves are perceived, that he tries to kind of validate his moves. And I sort of think that's why they're committed to Subban. And it sucks because Delia is the odd man out, but I just think that he's going to get another shot with another organization. And it may be the best thing for him because, this thing appears to kind of have gone south for him. And so there's I think he's done. I think he's done with the Hawks as much as they're done with him, So that's it on Delia. So Matt Aarons, another one of our rink rats, really good guy, sent me a note today, and he wanted to ask about Nikita Zadorov. I remember when the Hawks traded for him, we had some robust debate on our chat about how he would be with the Hawks, and I think he's probably somewhat disappointed me a little bit. I thought we might see a little bit more out of him, but Matt's question was what kind of player is he? And I'm going to bounce this one around. I think we'll get some good takes on this. Andy, what do you think? What's your take on this? Give me a scouting report on Nikita Zadorov.
I don't know. I mean, he doesn't pass the eye test with flying colors. I mean, when you watch him out there, you're like, who's this guy clunking around out there? He looks like his feet are in cement. He's always chasing some guy, and he's kind of behind him. And but if you look at him statistically, I mean, he's a plus rated defenseman. It was really cool to see him chip in a little bit offensively. I mean, he's huge. And, so I think in board battles, you need that big lumbering defenseman. I'm curious what they're going to do after this season, because I believe he's up for contract after this season. And that's going to be a pretty tough decision on what to do with him, especially if he's expecting a raise. Now, that would be one of those where if the Hawks make the playoffs and he looks good the last month or so, then it might be like, oh, that's not good, because now Stan's going to pay him way more than he's worth. I mean, I don't really, I think early on you kind of noticed him a lot more than you do now. And he's one of those, if you don't notice him very much, he's doing his job. And I think, for a lot of stay-at-home defensemen, that's the best kind of stay-at-home D you can have. He's a guy that's just, he's just there all the time. So I don't know. I don't dislike him and I don't like him. And for those reasons, I think he's fine and playing a good role.
All right, Ray, what do you think?
He's been okay. I think if you tell him play 2 strides back of what you think you should be, you're going to be okay. If they've got speed coming at him, or if he's got to turn his hips and go, he's in trouble. But I think other than that, if you're giving me, 15 minutes a night, just saying stay at home, nobody scores, be tough in the corners, be tough in front of the net, use your size, make sure people know that you're there. I don't need anything else out of you. I just need you to do that. So, but early on, you could see some of the speed I thought was pretty obvious beating him, pretty obviously beating him. But, if you're just saying, hey, don't push the puck up the ice. All I'm worried about you is being back, using your size, be a nuisance, be tough in the corners, be tough in front of the net. He's going to be okay. He's not the reason you're going to win hockey games, but he could be a reason why you would lose a hockey game. So be the reason why we're not losing.
That's an interesting take. All right, Lauren, what do you think about Nikita Zadorov? Don't say Svechnikov.
Mr. Svechnikov! Would have rather traded Saad for him. So Bowman really talked this guy up, and he just hasn't lived up to it for me. I have made a tweet last week that my dog thinks her name is Damn It Zadorov because of how often she hears it come out of my mouth. I mean, he's not fast. Trying to be nice. He's slow as shit. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Yes.
They gave up Saad for him, and they, didn't They lost that trade. He's always chasing the play. That's why you keep saying, damn it, Zadorov, whenever he's around, because it's just like, he's just like an eager puppy that you like. It's like, I want to do good stuff, but like, I suck at it. And it's like, he's trying, and he seems like a cool guy. Like whenever I see him like post on Instagram, he like seems like a nice guy to hang out with, but like not a nice guy.
Except for the man bun.
What do you got?
Hey,
You
hey,
wish
hey,
you had
hey.
a man bun. You wish you had a man bun.
Can confirm.
But I mean, he's on the roster. Like
He's there.
it's like when the realtor says, well, it sure is cozy, because they're like, they don't want to say that it's small. Like, well, he sure can get out there.
Yep. I think there's a lot of truth to that too. All right. So Sean, what do you think? What do you think about Nikita Zadorov?
He can hit people. That's pretty much about it. He doesn't wow me. I honestly thought he sucked when he first started. He was always getting you could tell he was always chasing the puck and getting just blown by with a faster skater. So, I mean, like Ray said, he might not necessarily win you games, but he definitely could lose you games. I think that was a great assessment, and he's on the team. I don't like the fact that they traded Brandon Saad for him. I think piggybacking off what was said, that Stan Bowman loves to hype up everything in the hype machine, and I think Zadorov was caught in the Stan Bowman hype machine, and he's not what Stan Bowman envisioned him and hyped him up to be, which, shocking, happens way more often than we'd like to admit. Or Stan would like to admit, I should say. We say it all the time.
Right. Gate, all right. Let me have it. What do you think?
He's a good third pairing defenseman, or serviceable third pairing defenseman that hits people. That's what he's got. Yeah, he's not fast enough to keep up with anybody. You could skate right around him if you want to. He's a big pylon. But he brings a physical aspect that they didn't have. So that's one positive on that. Other than that, he's kind of a little too slow for what, for a team that had problems with fast teams.
Yeah.
He doesn't help them any in that.
Yeah.
He gives them a little bit of size in your own end, and that's okay. I mean, if you compare him to who the guy he was traded for, we've learned that in the past you can't really do that. You don't compare Connor Murphy to Nicholas Hjalmarsson, because they're just not the same player. The guys they got for Panarin, you can't compare them like this. If you try to compare them to what Brandon Saad was, like the Blackhawks lose massively in this trade. They just, they took on a guy, they needed some height and some size, and they got that, but not much else along with that height and size.
Yeah. So my take on Zadorov, I was hopeful when they traded for him that they would be able to get something more out of him than they got in Colorado. But honestly, I mean, it's funny, Andy, the player you described seeing this year is basically how people from Colorado described him after a couple of years there. And I just, the bottom line is you can't coach speed. It's just, and I've heard people say, guys with skating deficiencies, you could coach that. No, you really can't. I mean, you can marginally improve a player's speed.
Dylan Strome.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, that's the one that's come up about. And you can marginally improve a player's speed through coaching, but if a player is an average skater, they're gonna stay an average skater, generally speaking. And that's in the NHL. I mean, if you're an average or less than average skater, you are at a deficit. And that's disappointing. But I also said at the time too, I felt like the Hawks were trying to just at that time in that trade and some other trades, they were trying to just cut some salary. And that's what you got. You lost some salary in the deal, some salary commitment, and you lost some ability. And it's unfortunate. But I mean, yeah, I agree. I think he can be a decent third pairing guy. It depends on who you partner him with. And we'll see. We'll see if they keep him. He is a free agent. He's a restricted free agent this summer. So we'll see what they do. They'll probably end up keeping him. But I have a feeling they may lowball him on money. And then but I don't think anybody's going to offer sheet him either. It's freaking Nikita Zaharov. So, all right, good stuff. We've covered a lot of good topics. Now, I want to talk about the Snark Burley line, the Snark Burley brand, which is also a nice segue into one of Sean's least favorite topics, the resurgent and highly promising Chicago White Sox.
Are we talking about LaRusse's blood alcohol level, or what are we talking about here?
No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about baseball, pal. So, Lauren, tell us about your line, your products, where people can buy them, all that good stuff.
So briefly, Snark Burley started with Eloy Jimenez. After he hits a home run, when he comes back into the dugout, he looks at the camera and goes, "Hi, Mom." So I've been like harassing the team on Twitter, make me a shirt, make me a shirt. They came out with this shirt that said the word mom in red with this big red glove, looked like a Mickey Mouse hand, kind of. Like, I still have nightmares about seeing this thing. And it just said the word mom. And I was like, what is that? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own shirt. So I made my own shirt.
Nice.
So then I got one for my mom, and I got her the pinwheel flag that John's wearing. She wore it, and people were like stopping her on the street. "Where'd you get your shirt? Where'd you get your shirt?" So she's like, everyone wants these. So I made a Twitter handle at Snark Burley, and my display name is Shoeless Ho Jackson because I live for puns. And actually, Stash is the one that came up with that name. And we do Blackhawks, White Sox. I mean, I do anything. I made myself the SVECHNIKOV shirt. I made a shirt for my friend's wrestling podcast. And then the first 2-3 weeks of the hockey season, Darnell Nurse single-handedly carried my boyfriend's team. I kept him alive. And I would be sitting there watching a game, and I would just hear out of nowhere, he'd come barging out of the room going, "Darnell fucking Nurse!" And I'm like, he said it so often, it became like a rallying cry. And so I made myself this shirt.
That's nice.
And then one of my favorite players on the Panthers, he told me, "Nobody fucking cares about him." So I also made
There you go.
for the first goal tonight, by the way, but nobody cares about him, allegedly. So, I mean, I'll do like one-offs just for myself. I can do anything. I mean, I can't use the team's logos or so I can't use their logo. I can't use the word White Sox or the word Blackhawks. But you saw Jeff had the Slater shirt that I did last year. I just mostly like to have fun and do funny and fun. I mean, Snark Burley, you're not going to get, tame things. I like to make fun of things. I did a couple Hall of Famer baseball person shirts for a certain new White Sox player.
Nice.
And by the way, this is the shirt.
There it is.
All right, go ahead.
She wasn't hurt because it's such a cool shirt. I wanted to find some Oilers fans they can have the design and keep it going. You're not going to find somebody with a more metal name are you? I don't think so.
No. So how does a very wealthy and willing to spend lots of money Rink Rat listener buy your products? How do they do that?
Everything is on TeePublic. They have a ton of options: hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, stickers, mugs. I mean, baby clothes, pillows. Someone bought a pillow yesterday. I was really excited about it. And I mean, I'm going to buy my dog a pillow to lay on. And they have a bunch of different colors. They have sizes from small to, I think, 5XL. And you can get whatever you want, whatever color you want. And TeePublic ships it directly There's a link in both of my Twitter accounts, and I'm always tweeting links and discount codes and contests,
Nice.
and I'm giving away stickers. And I gave away a Pinwheel flag shirt to a certain somebody.
Certain Rinkcaster.
I would not call it a bribe.
No, it wasn't a bribe. It wasn't a bribe. Actually, it was more like so I could get a free T-shirt. I invited you on the show.
I
You
might
might
actually
be-
buy
might
one
be
of the Pinwheel
afterwards.
shirts for a friend of mine.
Oh, absolutely. This is cool. I love this thing. I love this shirt.
She loves the Pinwheels too. She's a huge White Sox fan and
Yeah.
loves the Pinwheels. So
Well, and I also
And I
did
just
the
want to
struggle
say
flag
also
for-
the links are going to be in the podcast, on the post, on the website, and all that
Yes.
stuff. So if you go to the website and you look for where the podcast is going to be uploaded, the link will be in there to get to our website.
Yeah, we'll tweet that out tomorrow too. So you guys go check this stuff out. Support Lauren. She's one of our friends, and Stash is one of our friends, and she was gracious enough to join us tonight, and we really appreciate it. She did a great job. She only yelled Mr. Svechnikov like 5 times, which was six. Yeah, so we're winding it down. We're coming close to the 9 o'clock hour here in the Eastern time zone, and
My dog thinks that's her
there's-
name now.
there she is.
Mr. Svechnikov!
She's got that look on her face. It's like, let me
Disgruntled
go.
Sox fan Angie.
Yes.
Are you disgruntled? Are you disgruntled? She looks like she's being held prisoner right now. This poor, pathetic dog. Here, I'll let you go to your daddy.
She does. She totally does. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to predict that the White Sox will be 162-0 this year.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome. All right. So I'm going to ask the esteemed panel of usual suspects first. Do you guys have anything you want to plug tonight? Gate, you want to plug the Kraken Rinkcast?
Yeah, the Kraken Hostel, Seattle Rinkcast. We don't have a whole lot of episodes just yet because there's not much going on.
Don't have a
We
whole
had
lot of
Ryan-
team.
Yeah, we had Ryan Clark from The Athletic, who's their local guy. Sean joined me for that one. And we had a great conversation. So check that out. Go over there and subscribe to that. I think it's a whole new perspective, whole new team. All those people who say that I hate the Blackhawks and I'm a Mr. Negative. We're talking about a whole different organization and everything else over there. It's nice and
all-
fresh and new. which
It's all
gives me-
sunshine and roses
Yeah. They're gonna win the Stanley Cup
for now.
next year in their first season. And no negative talk over there. So yeah, check that out. The Kraken Hostel, Seattle Rinkcast.
What about the rest of you ruffians? What you guys got anything you want to plug? Any activities, charities, whatnot? No?
Sorry if we're on the t-shirt game, and sorry, Lauren, don't mean to step on any toes, but 500level.com. That's where I got this awesome Kane Mullet Man t-shirt.
That's nice.
They got good stuff. They got a lot of caricatures. You should check them out. I have a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
So some good Illinois folks running that show.
Illinois. Nice.
Illinois. Correct.
So Ray, what about you? Sean, what about you? You guys got anything you want to plug?
Yeah,
Since we're
I'll
plugging?
plug get your COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get in 1B, and I got my my first dose recently, and I felt pretty good. My wife, who's a teacher in Illinois, and I think we need to protect our teachers. She got her
Yeah.
second dose recently,
Right on.
so
Yeah.
get your COVID vaccine so we can get out of the quarantine era.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Good stuff.
Thank you for inviting us into the circle of trust.
And the trust tree with a nest. Yes.
All right, Ray, you're the last you're the outlier on plugs.
Yeah, how do I follow that one up? How about NHLEntryDraft.com? Go check out some
Nice.
youngsters. We got some scouting reports on there. Great minds through Canada, through Europe. Go take a peek, see who the next Blackhawks are going to be after they make the playoffs and pick 23rd.
I want to take this opportunity also to announce that Ray is kind of, I would say, focusing more in his work for the Rink on prospects, and we're really excited about that because Ray brings kind of a scout's eye to a lot of the work he does for us, and this allows him to take advantage of that. And we're always excited about that. And we've been talking to Andy about another opportunity that we're not prepared to announce yet, but it will be when it happens. It's going to be another expansion into another NHL market for the Rink, which we're really excited about. And that may create an opportunity for our friend Sean. It's like a game of dominoes at the Rink.
And let's not forget about the Colorado division. They've taken on a couple of new writers.
They
and they're
have.
kicking ass over there. So
They're crushing it.
I almost wore a Colorado Rockies hockey hat tonight for them.
Nice.
But
yeah,
I think
go out and
maybe
check them out. They have a podcast
if Aaron
too.
comes on, I'll wear it.
Yeah, they have a podcast too. So if you like the Colorado Avalanche talk, they actually get into a lot of different topics, not just Avalanche talk. So go over there. Aaron's done some great interviews.
Yep.
And the last one was with our very own Juliana Nakac, who is the social media manager for the the Connecticut Whale.
Connecticut Whale.
Connecticut Whales.
The Whale.
Yeah, in the NWHL. And
Yeah.
they interviewed her. Owen did over there. She interviewed Juliana. So for Women's History Month, right? Hey.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So I'm gonna take the opportunity to plug our sponsor, our founding and original sponsor and abiding sponsor, puckhockey.com. They created the Rink line for us. They also, one of the things that originally drew us to them was the Marian Hossa line, which I believe they still have at sell, and a lot of cool stuff that they designed personally for Marian Hossa, for other NHL players as well, for a lot of metal bands.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so puckhcky.com, great people, and just really, really cool stuff. It runs the gamut from hoodies and flannels to hockey jerseys, hats, stickers, all that stuff. So it's really cool. They do great stuff. Really, really well-designed, great stuff. So puckhcky.com. Next week, I'm trying to get a guest, a local goalie coach here in Columbus, who I think really kind of breaks the mold in terms of some of the drills he does with interesting.
Almost made it
JJ
a whole
always
show
loses
without
steam at
JJ's
the end.
internet. Oh.
Yeah. JJ always loses steam at the end. He's running out of gas.
He's like a robot. You need to put the battery back in.
Do you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Hello. There you go.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. I just got your internet connection is unstable. So I'll keep this brief, but I'm trying to get a local
along with the
coach.
rest of the staff.
That's right. Very unstable, highly unstable. Trying to get a local
Bunch of
goalie coach.
numbskulls.
Correct. Trying to get a local goalie coach that I know here in town to come on, who's got some really interesting ideas and methods for training young goalies. And we'll get back to a little more of a hockey focus with our guests next week. But it's been fun having Lauren on the show.
I was told there would be neck beards.
All right.
What do you mean? I know nothing about any kind of neck beards.
Lauren, why
I
don't
have
you?
like a hole in my neck beard.
Well, I actually shaved right before this show, so I wouldn't be lumped in with the neck beards. But Lauren, why
So
don't you
did
tell
I.
us?
I shaved before this too. Look at this.
Yeah, I could tell. Lauren, why don't you tell us about what you and Stash have done with neck beards over the last week or so?
So the other day they showed Calvin DeHaan, and he went like this, and I was like, I bet I could identify that guy by his neck beard. That thing is pretty robust. And so I just downloaded a bunch of pictures of different hockey players cropped out from here up. So it was like just this portion, and just played guess that neck beard or guess that flow. And he got almost all of them. There were two in there that were like tricks that I knew he wouldn't get. One of them was Kyler Yamamoto, who I think has approximately 2 hairs on his face. But it was a really fun game. And so I think that like I could probably name almost anyone. I could identify almost anybody by their, I won't say by their neck beard, but I'll say by their flow or their facial hair.
Sounds like a shirt should be made like that.
I want to play a game of it.
Yeah,
Well, maybe you
absolutely.
could put like on the shirt, name the neck beard.
Or you could actually have some neck beard around the collar of the shirt
You
designed
could.
into it. Just saying. When I
It's
think
like
of
a
neck
gritty
beard,
shirt.
when I think of neck beards, I think of Kyle Orton,
Yes.
I do. That's what I was thinking. Kyle Orton, Purdue.
Kyle Orton, Gate, and Ted Kaczynski. The Unabomber.
Boy, that's some exclusive company right
Wow. I don't know who's the most famous one out of that group.
All
there. I
right.
can't. I'm not going to tell you which one I relate to the most.
No, I know.
We all know the answer to that one.
We all know the answer. I'll be expecting a package in the mail tomorrow, and it won't contain a T-shirt.
That's
All right.
a good opportunity for a COVID mask, the neckbeard COVID mask.
Oh, nice. See,
Mhm.
Lauren?
Can I interest you in a Brent Seabrook?
Oh, yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
that. That would be a great mask.
Siebes is, he's one hairy bastard. He really is.
And confirm.
All right. Well, look, we've now that we've descended into the neckbeards, I think it's time to wrap this up tonight. So thank you, Lauren, our special guest. Thanks to the usual suspects and my partner Gate for joining us tonight. Please, visit us on the Twitters. I'm not going to try to remember you guys' Twitters. I'm just going to go through them really fast. Ray, Twitter.
Hockey knapsack at hockey knapsack. Yeah, you have to ask easier questions, JJ. Hockey knapsack is my Twitter handle.
Andy, Twitter.
Andy Campbell 16. There you go.
Ray. Or it's not Ray. Sean, sorry.
Diesel, DIESAL 3426.
Lauren, Twitter.
At Snark Burley or LWILZ.
Right on. Gate, Twitter.
At Puckin Hostel and at Kraken Hostel.
And you can follow us at the Rink, at the Rinkcast, and our various affiliates also as well. You can find on the Twitters. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you on the rink. All right, we're done.